Very disturbing news coming in from Uttarakhand. One junior commissioned officer of the Indian Army and 10 soldiers are missing after that huge flash flood in the Dharali area near Harsil. The information is one officer was injured. An army camp was directly in the line of the cloudburst and the flash floods that followed. Now, despite this, the commanding officer of that unit, he came out to help others who were stranded. So the commanding officer and soldiers of the 14th Battalion of the Rajputana Rifles, they're engaged in relief and rescue operations, even though one JCO and 10 other ranks, 10 soldiers are feared missing as of now. So while there is a team that's looking for them, there are multiple teams that are engaged in the rescue operation. So far, 80 people have been evacuated. I quickly want to cut across to India Today's Ankit Sharma, who joins us with the latest. Ankit, I hope now there's some information that's available. What's the latest on ground?
Well, Gaurav, these are stark times, and during dark hours of today's incident, this is almost 9 p.m. right now, and the security forces are still giving their best to find out as many people as they can. However, the rainfall event still ongoing, and despite the harsh weather conditions, the rescue operations are underway. They are using dragon lights and more gadgets to see as many people as they can. And on the other hand, as you were telling, there are more than 10 Indian Army personnel who have been feared missing as well.
Okay.
So this calamity struck on two ends of the Harsil Valley. One is Dharali, where major devastation has taken place, and the other is Harsil base camp. And so far, it's a dual challenge for the Indian forces.
It indeed is.
Carry
Stay
out
with
one of
me.
the biggest
Also
tasks.
joining us on this broadcast is M. Shashidhar Reddy, former Vice Chairman of the National Disaster Management Authority. Sir, your appreciation of the situation on ground and how difficult will rescue operations be over the next several days, because apparently it's inclement weather even now.
Well, I think even for the last 3 days, there have been heavy warnings being issued. The unfortunate point is that, we have, compared to the situation that we had when we had the Kedarnath cloudburst and the floods at that time, I think several radars have been put in place, but at the higher reaches where this rainfall would have occurred and caused this kind of a landslide and slush flowing at that high speed, there's no way of monitoring, taking any kind of idea of what kind of a rainfall we had, but certainly it's heavy. Unfortunately, I've seen the report that was put out, a press release that was put out by the IMD this evening around 7:30. Fairly severe, very severe rainfall, a very heavy rainfall. Sometimes some places has gone up to 170 millimeters, and that's huge.
Now, when you war game these situations, do you assess how bad can the damage be? Your assessment of the damage when you look at these images, and how long before one can know how many more people need to be rescued, given the ground realities right now?
Well, we'll have to see how the rain behaves. How, if it sort of comes down. The forecast probably is of a better position tomorrow. If that comes down, and this is something that, on ground, in the plains or in an urban area or on the rural sites, not the hilly terrain that we have, to make an estimation of this kind is really easier than what kind of an attempt that we can make now.
Because I believe there are several rescue teams that are going, but they're stranded because of it's raining almost non-stop. There are several landslides en route. They're unable to get there. What kind of difficulties do these teams face? Point one and point two. What kind of equipment would they require? Do we have that in adequate numbers? Because even if helicopters need to be pressed into service, they cannot because of the weather.
Absolutely, absolutely. And of course, now it's evening, and let's hope by tomorrow morning the weather clears up, and so that equipment can move. And along the hills, as we've, any kind of a landslide anywhere on these roads in Uttarakhand, or in Himachal for that matter, the traffic comes to a total standstill, and
Yes.
everybody is totally stranded. If you can recall that Uttarakhand episode,
Yes.
warnings were given, and that go to safe places. Nobody knows what a safe place was, and there was this village called Rambada, which was considered to be
Yes.
it's a fairly good
Relatively safe.
habitation,
Yes.
relatively spread out, and the entire village was washed out. I mean, this is the
Yes.
uncertainty, and you cannot create a scenario, and the frequency of such high intensity rainfalls, cloudbursts is increasing. And climate change, extreme weather events, this has become the new normal. Unfortunately, and I was talking to some experts, what kind of a situation is there in, say, you compare to some other countries like in Europe or outside. They said our Himalayas are fragile. We cannot really compare, and
Yes.
these are also the highest, and these are fragile, and we'll really have to give a serious thought on what kind of
Relocating perhaps permanently parts of the population as
yeah, I
was
mean,
contemplated after 2013 disaster at the Kedarnath Dham. We'll perhaps talk about this in the days ahead, sir. I've run out of time on this part of the show, but very, very disturbing images, and we really hope and pray lives can be saved. These security forces, the armed forces, and the other teams are on ground, and we're getting you a 24/7 update on that story. That is all I have for you on India First this evening. Many thanks for watching.